Hello Internet, this is gonna be a little shaky video here for you. It's a 4090 that we need to fix. So what's going on here? We have this pad here and this pad. These two are ground, so we don't really need to worry about them that much. This pad here is completely isolated. It doesn't go anywhere, so we don't have to worry about that either. This pad is important, but we have some delamination of the board here. We can probably fix that with some glue. I don't know. What else? I would really love to just replace the board and not screw around with this. Cause you know, all of these things, if they can be replaced, they can't easily be replaced because they're almost glued to the board. And if you want to replace them, you have to force it out. So, and we probably could replace this one here, suppose. We're gonna have to leave this one alone and just glue it down. So let's see what kind of luck we're going to get. See if we can save this board and make a nice cut, like so. And we're gonna have to cut this piece off of the other board, or we can steal this pad here. Just glue it over there. That will be one way to do it. So as far as this one goes, I can try small drop of super glue on in here, like inside of that crack. Kind of hope that it would seep in and just hold it down. No, hopefully it gets cured like this. Just gonna hold it down and hope that it would get cured, but that's not gonna be as quick as you would hope because that stuff doesn't want to dry as quick as you want to. So maybe we can introduce a little bit of hot air, see if that helps. So first, obviously I want to press down on it so it's all nice and compressed, and give it a little bit of hot air to hopefully speed up the drying process. Not sure how effective that's going to be. We're gonna give it a try anyway. Okay, that looks like it's holding up, I think. It's pretending to hold up, so we're going to assume that it's holding up. Alright, now we need to salvage this pad here. See if we can, do I want to cut it off or just go ahead and shave it off? Let's see if we can shave this thing off. You gotta have a really sharp razor blade to do this, and whatever razor blade I got is probably not sharp enough. Oh, as you can see here, we just screwed up. Alright, let's go find a different pad. None of these will work, and the ones at the front are all occupied, as you can see here, except maybe for these two. But look, these two are cut, but that's okay. They are cut before the point of contact, so we can leave them alone. Yeah, we could probably reuse this one or this one, because it's, we can, you know, let's do that, because this one here, as you can see here, it's kind of cut like after the fact, and not only that, it is also no connect. So let's see if we can shave this one off since it's not needed. And it just flew. It flew somewhere. I don't know where it flew, but it flew very far away and I cannot see it. It looked like it flew toward me, but I can't see it. You sneaky bastard. Alright, there's one more pad. There's one more pad that we can steal. This guy here, I think, no, that one's gonna be too short already. Alright, no luck with this. Let's go ahead and switch to a donor board. I'm gonna steal that from Asus. Yes, Asus is going to be providing us with donor parts today. Let's see if we can steal this from Asus as easily. And that just went flying south as well, but I think I recovered it. Alright, let's flip the board. I found it, yeah. Alright, here we go. How do we go about fixing this? Well, let's go ahead and take that pad and put it on there. Of course, we want to wipe everything off. It's nice and clean. And I probably want to trim this one off further, like this, something like that. And let's bring in the pad. There's our pad, and I want that pad flat. How do we make it flat? That's a very good question. It's not gonna be easy. So I think we want to flip it over and we want to put it on a flat surface like this and just kind of go over it a few times. I don't know if this is helping or not. I hope so. Still looks a little bit twisted from my point of view. So I want to scrape away whatever's I don't know if I want to scrape it away or not, but I will anyway. Yeah, I think this looks pretty flat, you know. I think I can live with that. And even after fixing this, I don't think this is going to be it. I think there's going to be a lot more drama to follow. Alright, let's introduce some super glue, and hopefully it will not dry instantly. as it usually likes to do. So we're gonna apply that here, quickly wipe that thing, and let's go ahead and put it in. Oh, we need to do that the other way around. Everything just went south. The dryer is going crazy. The house is shaking. Alright, I think I'm just gonna press it down and let it glue. Alright, I think that piece will work. I'm starting to think that we might want to do the same thing with this piece, because it's right over the edge where the contact point is. So if the card isn't fully seated, it won't detect. So, which is kind of nice. It's good and bad at the same time, if you think about it. So unless the card is fully seated, I would rather, I'm going to leave it like this on purpose. So consider this an upgrade. Right, so in here, we want that ground. We want these two ground pads connected. How do we do this? I don't know. We can take whatever piece of pad we've shaved off from earlier and see if we can solder that there. I don't think that's a crime. Okay, let's play this safe. We're gonna put some Copton tape in here. Let's focus on this thing, so that way we don't accidentally screw anything up. Here's our tape, and we're going to put it just under there. There, that's what I want to see. Get it nice and pressed down. Okay. Black Horse to the rescue. Where's Black Horse? There's Black Horse right there. So let's prepare that. That one was easy, but the ground pad is not gonna be that easy. So that could be a problem. How do we deal with this problem? We could just use a big size tip. Let's see how that works. Should work. Just gonna use a big size tip. See if we can solder the two, because that pad on the top is all ground and it does not want to go, but I think it did. Yeah, looks like it did. Let's go ahead and cut away the excess. It felt like it was a solid solder, but I don't know. It's not pretty. And as I already said, the this pad here, this one is no connect, and this one will probably be will cause issues with the detection, so we're going to leave it alone. That way it'll force the user to insert this all the way in, or maybe I should replace it. I don't know. We'll see. If it'll work this way, then knowing that it's fully inserted and it works will probably good enough for me. So bend this one down just a little. I probably want to add more super glue in here. I'm gonna go ahead and blow this dry and add a little bit more super glue on the bottom of this. So that the crack is filled. Let's see how that works. Bring some super glue. That's already starting to dry, and that stupid washer is shaking the house down. All right, there we go. So the pad, as you can see here, the pad isn't really glued as good as I want it to, and the reason for that is because we were soldering it. So super glue will detach from the heat. So we're gonna press it down, and we're going to blow some heat on it. A little bit of heat will help it to dry, but too much heat will get it loose. The machinists use this trick to attach the part to metal to metal contact for machining purposes, and once they're done with machining, they heat it up and they separate the two and continue on about their day like nothing ever happened. All right, I think I'm satisfied with what I have here. Some of you may probably not. But I am, so who cares? All right, let's see. The front here doesn't look too bad. Yeah, we're missing one pad, but it's unnecessary. We can leave it alone. And the cuts that are made on the other pads, they are below the contact area, but we also have a crack on here. So let's have a look. There's actually a crack, I think. And I also think, yeah, look at that. We got someone really hurt this board. Jeez, look at that. Okay, let's wipe this off. Wow, somebody really did a number on this card. So the issue with cracks in vias is that the via may not be contacting the wire that's going into it. So when the crack is along the via, that's bad, because it could, who knows how many layers deep that via goes. And always best to just put a solder blob in there or something, you know, to connect the two. That'll probably do. And we also want to make sure that we have a contact between here and there. We do. And then the other one. Okay, we're good. So we got that. And I think we can power it on. See what it says. Probably gonna have errors on who knows how many chips. I don't know. Because it looks like the whole bottom was like twisted or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hard to say. Alright, let's power this thing on, see what it does. And here we go. So nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Alright, let's try to power this thing with the power supply. See what the power supply says. Should have done that first. And yeah, and the power supply says we're dead. There's no power. Okay, let me turn on the multimeter view for you so you can see what I'm doing. So there's a multimeter right there. And we got 0 here. There's no voltage. 12 volts not coming in. So we got 12 here, nothing here. So why do we not have 12 volt coming from the PCI Express? That's probably because the fuse is blown. Let's see if the fuse is blown. And the fuse is indeed blown. Look, open line. Is it short? No. I think the fuse is just cracked in half. Let's replace the fuse. Alright, Black Horse. Don't let me down. Let's get this thing replaced. Can you imagine the fuse? It didn't blow. I think it just cracked in half. There's no way that it would blow. I mean, maybe, but why would it blow if there's no short? All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. That's off. Good job, Black Horse.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thanks, Steve.
Now, where's the fuse? There's the fuse. All right, Black Horse, do your thing. Come on. I'm trying not to heat the area because it depends with the super glue. So there we go. That'll do it. A small blob. That's okay. Super clean. Look at that. Great job, Black Horse. All right, now let's power this thing. See what it does this time. I'm sure we're gonna have all the voltages. And let's see. There we go. Pulling amperage. 1.2. Memory. Core. All right. Nice. Fuse cracked in half. Can you believe this? What are they doing with these cards? I think it's not gonna post. What do you guys think? Think it's gonna post? Let's do a poll. Does it post or does it not post with all that damage? And the poll is over. Let's push the power button. See what it does. I think it's not gonna post. Ha ha ha. Told you. It's not posting. Let's turn off the multimeter. You don't want it anymore. Let's go into the memory test. And I can only imagine where we could have errors with damages on the both sides of the PCI Express, gold fingers, whatever you want to call that area. It could have errors on more than one chip. If that's the case, there's probably a lot of RIP pads under the core. And that really sucks. So, but we'll see. We might get away with just reballing one memory chip. Who knows? At the very least, it's detecting. A1. Okay. I actually thought that we were going to have issues with like an F0 on top of A1, but looks like we don't. So the other 4, I think 2 or 3 of them needed to be reballed. The core needed to be reballed, but I managed to save one with just reballing the memory chip and fixing a couple of RIP pads under. So hopefully this one's going to be just as easy as that other one, where I would only have to maybe fix a couple of RIP pads here. We'll see, and hopefully that's it. So let's get that done and see if that works. Just a couple of RIP pads, nothing major. Hopefully that's all there is. Hopefully I won't have to reball the core, but in the event when that happens, I would still like to run the tests a little bit longer just to make sure that there are no issues, because oftentimes reballing the core is almost mandatory. So if I didn't reball the core, I would at the very least run the test a little bit longer to make sure that everything works stable and it's not crashing or anything like that. But we'll see. And it looks like it's posting. I am actually shocked, given the amount of damage we've got on that board. As a matter of fact, that board cracked here a little bit. I can even see, I don't know if you can pick this up. You probably will. Let me zoom in. You can see all these little lines here. These are all indicators of the board getting flexed. See, that's a lot. And somehow it still works. Interesting. All right, so one last thing I want to do is I want to double check before I put this thing together. I want to double check the data lines, make sure that all of them are working, or at the very least passing the signal through. Looks good to me. We'll go ahead and put this thing together, run all of the necessary tests, and hopefully that will be it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was educating, maybe not entertaining. I'll try to do the entertaining videos later, as they do take a lot of time to get them produced. And I'm the only one doing all the work here. So producing, recording, and all the animating the cats. Not animating the cats, but trimming and everything else. Just a lot of work. Just a lot of work getting those cats to dance the way you like it. So yeah. Either way, that will be it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you later. Goodbye. Okay, we are back. We got a problem. We are stuck at 210 megahertz. Now, that could only mean one thing. The board is cracked. So we either open up the crack, and most likely going to be some sort of a trace that's cut in there, or we swap the board. But we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing major. Maybe we'll have to dig a few layers down and get that fixed one way or another. I really should have tested that before I put it all together, given the circumstances, but it is what it is. I got nothing better to do anyway, so let's go ahead and take this thing out. And kind of makes me wonder if I could fix it without even taking it apart, though. But I don't know what's missing, you know. So we could have we're probably missing some kind of voltage on that power monitoring chip. Who knows? We'll see. Because usually when the power is missing somewhere, then we would have issues with, it would usually be a crack like here, right at the hook area, rather than at the gold fingers here. So that's a bit unexpected, to be honest. But let's see. Here's the thing. 210 megahertz stuck. Or actually there's actually a sign of a small crack on that hook, so there might be damage there after all. Hold on a sec. I'll show you in just a second. But at the very least we know the core's working, so that's good. We've done that much so far, so far so good. Alright, let's have a look what we've got here. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's actually it's like a sign of a crack, sort of. See there? It's way more obvious on this end. Huh? It didn't even get attached properly. You piece of trash. Probably because there's flux in that crack there. Should have cleaned that a little bit better. Regardless. So yeah, so the issue seems to be here. What about the back of the board? Let me go ahead and put some standoffs on this thing. And I'm thinking that we might have issues that are related to these traces here, but it doesn't look like it. Though you can see that there's a little bit of crack here. I can only guess. We can, you know what? Let's open up a board view. Actually, no, let's look around, see if maybe something else is knocked off. Maybe something else is missing. Who knows? I don't see anything here. So we have the power, which means that this logic is working. And then we had all this damage here, which means who knows what. Very interesting. So the chip in question is going to be this guy here. Where is it? See if I can find it. I think it's going to be this guy here. Yep. This guy is in question, as well as its other brother. We only have one, so we don't have another one. There's nothing on the back. Yeah, so that will be the only chip that we need to worry about. So that should be easy, if we can figure out what's wrong. What else could possibly break? I don't know. I'm just tempted to like start drilling in here, maybe a little bit in here, but I don't know exactly where to drill. But we can find out, and the way we do this actually makes me, well, no, the shunt's okay. I don't think the shunt's damaged. It would not have worked if the shunt was damaged. We can look at a board view and see what kind of layers are we dealing with. So let's see. All right, so let's enable the top layer. And we're looking at this general area here. So I don't think, so we will always check these. So let's turn off that layer. Let's look at the second layer. And it looks like, oh, I see. So it looks like it looks like we're gonna need to dig in here, as you can see here. So there are some traces here. We could, however, run a wire. How do you navigate here. So it's this wire here. Yeah, we could just run a wire from point A to point B. Can we, do we have a select tool? There. So this wire will probably go on the back of the board and it will come out who knows where. Let's see. So we were here. Where does it go? I just want to see where it goes. Okay, looks like it's going into here. And then let's turn that off. And that goes into here. What do we have here? Crystal oscillator, or what is that? I don't even know what this is. Alright, who cares? Yeah, it's probably gonna go in here at some point. So let's just not waste our brain cells and just start digging, I suppose. That's the only sensible thing to do at this point. Alright, let's see if that fixes the problem. Couple of cut traces there. Nothing too serious. Hopefully this is it. Because I am getting tired of this thing. Alright, here goes nothing. Okay, so let's run this, see if that changes. Because I wanted to reflect the load. And I think we're good. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so let's turn this off, put it all together. Run another set of tests. And hopefully this time, that's all this is. Okay, as you can see here, we're still having a problem. Something is still in that crack. We are reporting correct voltages, but we're not reporting correct power. It's very low on the 16 pin, and the clock is very low. Alright, let's turn this thing off. Kind of makes me wonder what else are we missing. Let's open it up and find out. We could have 2 more tracers cut on the back of the board. We're gonna have to see. Oh, and a ton more at the front. So if we fix the area here, there could still be... Where were we? Okay, so we were working in this general area here, and we were probably fixing these these traces here. So that means... No, we were fixing these traces here. So that means... I don't know. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Not here. Okay, so if we were here... Oh, I see. Okay, now it's starting to make some sense. Okay, so I think we still need to... I think we need to open this up further, but on the back. Because there's nothing, no more layers of interest at the front. But the back one, third layer. Yeah, third layer from the bottom. It looks like we may have a couple of traces there that are cut. Also, there may actually be more traces cut at the front of the board. Yeah, that's hard to say. So I will either revisit this repair and or I will look in the back. We're just missing a few signals. As you can see here, every single one of them is cooking. So it's something that's in that crack that's broken. So let's go ahead, open it up from the back. So I see the traces, but I don't know if they are cut. I have to look like really close to see if they're actually cut. And I don't think they're cut. Let me focus here for you. Yeah, that does not look like a cut trace to me. Alright, so the thing still refuses to work. So what do we need to do? We need to start checking a few things. Alright, we're gonna start with this chip here on the back. That's monitoring all that kind of stuff, which was reporting 150 watt on the PCI Express, which is a lie. So let's start checking this chip. See maybe if we can fix this by running a wire or something. So right here, we're reading 4 volts. And we should be reading 12, but we're not. So 1.3, wait a minute, am I doing it right? Nope, we're not doing it right. Let's start from here. 12, perfect. What about here? 12, and the third pin, 0.8, 18. So that's gonna be our baseline. So we're gonna go to the second pair, 12, 12, and in here should be 0.18. Yes, it is. Okay, now let's do here. These two are shorted, 12, 018, 12, 12. Wait, what about this one here? 1218, 1218, and 018. So there's nothing wrong with the chip. All of the 12 volt signals are coming into it though, but the problem still exists somewhere. We're not getting any issues with voltages. We're getting an issue with something else. Now the problem is, just because we're reading voltages, that doesn't mean that those voltages do not sag once the card is running under load. So, all right, I don't think there's anything there, which is good, I think. But I wonder if there's anything here. I should be hitting those traces, but I didn't see them. Not sure why. Maybe this board is a different revision. The only option I have left now is to dig further into here. And hopefully we can figure out what's wrong with this thing. Alright, so if this does not work this time, I'm done here. I'm just gonna throw this thing onto a MSI board or something like that. Or whatever I have available laying around. I mean, look at this. There's so much damage in here. And the crack. And the whole board is like cracked. Rip pads under the memory chip. Who knows? We might even have rip pads under the core. I don't know. All those problems could be coming from under the core instead of the crack. So I'm just sitting here wasting my time with this crack, going back and forth and not getting any results. I don't know. We'll see. I just powered it on a few seconds ago. It seemed like it worked, but it seemed like it worked before, and as soon as you actually run it in the through the slot, it doesn't. So I don't know. I'm giving up. It's almost 2 o'clock. Yeah, it's like 5 till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm starting to think that this ain't gonna work. But who knows? See, the clock is good, and yeah, it doesn't work. 210 PCI Express slot power, 150 watt. That's a bunch of crap. So I'm moving this to MSI or something. So before I do the transfer, the core and the memory to a different board, which I had laying around for whatever reason, I was having hallucinations all night about this repair. Because, you know, that's what happens when you stay late and that's what you think about all night. You're dreaming about it. So, since it's reporting weird values on the PCI Express, basically 12 volt is coming in from here rather than the connector, I started looking around. I started checking the shunt resistors and see if it actually reads, if it actually connects all the way over there. And funny thing is about the shunt resistor, they have like two different marks, two different contact points. They're all the same, but they're two different contact points. And so one does not seem to get to here. So then I open up the this layer view, and it goes all the way here, here, here. And I think it's on the fifth layer in here coming from the back right here. So these two thick veins that I've been looking for before, I couldn't see them, and as you can see here, it gets into that shunt right here. And so if we were to look at it on the board level, so if I were to put a probe at the shunt and into that pad, there is 44 ohms, whatever. Supposed to be 0, because if we measure the other end, well, it doesn't matter which end we measure to the pad that's next to it. That one's connected to this end of the shunt resistor, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the shunt resistor is practically 0 anyway. So bottom line is, it's not connected to there. So the easiest option right now would be to simply run a wire, and that should fix it. Scrape away a little bit here. And where exactly? Yeah, doesn't matter. Just gonna run a wire, and that should take care of it. Okay, just the wire. I think we got it fixed. So that will be it for this repair.